Well, hi guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview. Sorry I couldn't be there on your promo day in Helsinki, but I hope you're doing fine today.
We are doing great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're releasing your new album, which is also a self-titled album, EGOKILLS, in a few weeks. So how are you feeling about the upcoming release?
Excited.
Yeah.
We were just talking about it that we are you know, it's kind of hard to know beforehand about the response and the reviews and everything, but at least the press interest has been better than ever before, and we know that there are reviews coming in and so forth, and even the sales look pretty good, not like through the roof, but still better than before. So it's going pretty well.
Usually there's a reason why bands decide to call an album after their band. So how come the decision to call the album EGOKILLS?
The truth. Well, we were planning or looking for some kind of name for the album, but we just couldn't come up with anything,
Yeah, and well, there is a slightly more noble reason for the title as well, because our original guitarist Pasi rejoined the band in 2019, and I truly feel, I think this is the longest lasting lineup of EGOKILLS already now, and
I would say
yeah,
so.
and I truly feel that this lineup is sort of the real, the best one and the classic one. So it makes sense to name the album that we have done with this 5-piece after the band, because it really feels that this is the golden era of EGOKILLS we are living now.
Do you also feel like with the lineup change from 2019 that this is like a new chapter for the band as well?
Kind of, yes. Yeah, because
it's like mix of going back to roots, yet it's like a new dawn, like it's
yeah, there are these two dimensions, and I'd say, speaking of vibes and feelings, writing and recording the album, we had quite a lot of stress and pressure with Mellowhead. Although it's a great album, I really love that still, but this time everything was really smooth, from writing to recording and everything. It was like,
it all went like really naturally.
Yeah,
like we didn't have to like push ourselves over the limit or anything, like, and build some expectations for ourselves.
Yeah, it was really stress-free. So I'd like to think that this is sort of a new normal for for the creative process.
In general, when you say that there was a lot of stress when you did the previous record, how did you like make sure that you didn't feel the same kind of stress this time around? Was there anything specific that you guys did, or was it just something that happened?
At least we didn't set any deadlines.
Yeah, we just like jammed around in the rehearsal place and like, let's just see what comes out, like not to overthink it or anything, just do music and do stuff that we love.
Yeah, and not to think about the reception at all, just like only focus on how do we feel about the thing ourselves. And that's why the album's so diverse, that there are so many different styles of music, because we love many different styles of music, and we like to have a lot of different gears and different elements in our music.
Yeah, when you mentioned that the album is very diverse, I noticed that also in, for instance, Dormant felt a lot more progressive, especially towards the end, and then Lives of Party is like a really fun party song basically. But how do you guys overall write the songs? For this album you mentioned you jam, but what happens afterwards?
Well, we jam again.
Yeah.
we play the thing, we just play it again, and then someone suggests something, and then we get stuck and we don't know how to continue, and then it's usually Janne who finds a solution or the escape from the stuck situation. But it's
Yeah, and we're like traditional old school band, you know, like we just always train in the rehearsal place, you know, like we don't send demos on, like make some home demos and send it to each other with our computers or stuff like that. We just like go to rehearsal place and try stuff out there.
Yeah, and that brings a lot of stuff that you can't really put your finger on. That what is it? But there's some kind of magic going on when there are 5 people in the same room playing instruments, and there's a lot of ideas and energy flowing all over the place, and the end result is always something different that any of us would have guessed. So that's the way we write, like together in the same room, and I'm not sure who's writing.
Yeah.
In the end, like it just sort of happens.
Yeah. Do you feel like, because a lot more bands, they don't really do that nowadays anymore, like just jamming around and having fun, do you feel that also defines, like, you know, the atmosphere maybe in your music or your particular sound?
Most definitely, yes. That's, you know, originally we didn't think about that because that's the natural way of doing things for us. We all grew up like playing together with other people in some lousy rehearsal place with horrible equipment, and trying to make sense of things and learning to play together. So it's always been like the natural way for us to do things. But now, you know, the more time has passed, we have most certainly realized that not all bands do like this, and then we have sort of like taken pride in this way of working as a band, that because, like I said, there is some kind of magic going on when you play together with other musicians, with your best friends. That's something that you cannot just come up with on your own in your bedroom with a computer.
Yeah. Now, I also read that this album was 4 years in the making, and you also mentioned that you didn't set a deadline for yourself, but I guess that means that most of it was done during the pandemic. So do you feel like the pandemic gave you the time to make the album perfect as you know, had it exactly in mind?
Yeah, with the exception that we didn't have the end result in mind. It just sort of came out as it came out. But yeah, the pandemic gave us time, of course. But then again, the flip side of it was that no one was really sure what was going to happen. So it wasn't like just that we felt that, okay, great, we have this time out, let's use the time. But it was really frustrating and really uncertain, and also like a depressive period of time as well, because we weren't really sure, you know, when, if at all, you know, we are getting out of this all things full stop kind of situation. So, and I think that reflects in some of the songs, at least like Dormant comes to mind, that, you know, we wrote that one right at the beginning of the situation. So
I guess like most of the darker stuff and like heavier is like from those pandemic years. And it reflects on the lyrics also, I guess.
Yeah, and of course we didn't have a deadline. As I mentioned, it was sort of a learning experience from the previous time that we didn't even try to set any kind of deadlines. But then again, last year, when we had all the songs written, things started happening quite fast. So that was like, it proved that whenever we have everything figured out, we can come up with stuff pretty quickly as well. But it takes time to form.
Well, out of curiosity as well, you mentioned that at the beginning of the pandemic, you wrote the most dark songs, but at what point did you write Life's a Party in that sense? Did that happen like when it was sort of over, or?
It was probably the last song we wrote.
Yeah. It might be like spring was coming. I can't remember. I guess we always wanted to make a party song, like really like simple, easy party song, not like overthink it, like.
But I think it was
and not too serious, you know.
Yeah, I think it was early last year. Like it was probably the last song we had.
Yeah,
fully written.
Yeah.
Yes. So it was quite late. It was like sort of after the when the worst part was over. Yeah, you're right about that.
So you mentioned that, of course, the pandemic also influenced the themes of the record a little bit. Is this like an album that has like certain theme, or is it like separate stories, or how do you guys usually write the lyrics?
Oh, the lyrics are divided between Janne and me, and there is this forever ongoing theme with all EGOKILLS lyrics that I like to describe it as like, you know, light and dark and the balance between, you know, all different shades of life, you know. And there's always been this idea that it can't be just darkness or hopelessness, you know. There has to be some kind of a ray of light and some kind of an idea of hope somewhere, you know. It's therapeutical in that sense, at least to me. But on the new album, there's no specific story. It's just observations of what's going on in the world and of our own feelings, and there's a lot of dark stuff about, of course, addiction and depression and whatnot, but then there's, of course, hope for the better as well, you know, in utopia. And even like Gray Rainbows is a kind of a sad song, but even there is like this sort of a little glimpse of hope somewhere in the end.
How does it work because usually in other bands there's only what, like, the vocalist writes the lyrics, right? So how do you guys work together is it like one person does one song, or do you actually work on, you know, one song?
Sometimes with like switch ideas, like maybe Vilho has something written and I was thinking about something like this, and if he hasn't like made the whole text, I might like just try to get something in it, you know, like,
but yeah, I think on this album it's mostly like one song per one person, but there are some collaborations as well. And it might be also that Janne has written a song, but he only has a really good chorus, and then I'm like inspired by that chorus, and then I, you know, figure out a storyline and the verses there too. But and we have not certainly closed the door for other members also to write lyrics, but that just hasn't happened yet. But we have sometimes talked about it, but it's been like up to me and Janne, at least up until now. Although there are some lyrical ideas from Mika, our bassist, on Sweat.
Yeah,
he wrote
he like gave us few lines.
He wrote
this and this and this.
He wrote like a sort of a short poem. He wasn't writing it to the song or anything. It was just like a poem he wrote, and then
we brought the lyrics like around it, you know.
Yes, we used that as like a starting point to come up with the final lyrics for the song. And the song was Sweet, just so you know.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, what I also really like was that you so most bands, when you open an album, it's like there's some sort of an intro, but with the Perfect Song, it's like kind of going straight to business and a lot of power for the first song. So why did you decide that was like the perfect song to open this record with?
It's just the opening line, I guess.
It was the idea, like it became from the opening line. It begins right here.
Yeah, it felt so strong. And actually, there was in that song, there was the intro riff recorded before that. But then it was your idea that, how about we cut off the intro riff and start it right from the first verse? And then we were like, yeah, it sounds great. You know, it's like straight to the point.
How much thought do you guys put into the order of the tracks? Or is that also something like in this song is a little bit more spontaneous? Like you mentioned that it was because of the opening line.
Well,
I guess some of the band members like sent a list like of the orders of the song for the album.
Yeah, we tried many different orders.
Yeah,
we actually put quite a lot of effort into that, and that's like an important thing for us, that it's the intensity and the dynamic of the album is it just turns out the best possible way. So each member made their own like favorite order, and then we sort of voted and tried different things, and I think your order won in the end.
I can't remember, but
I think that was the best one. But yeah, but yeah, and of course, on this album we also had the idea that it has to fit on one vinyl. So we needed to think about sides A and B, that they are like equal in length, and that sets certain limitations. And you know, there are many things, and of course the side B opener has to be like a sort of a strong song too, so it can't be like you know, a ballad or anything. It has to be a heavy song. So there were a lot of factors, but I think it came out pretty good.
What I also really liked is naturally the cover art of the album. Is there anything specific you can say about that? Like who created it and what was the idea behind it?
It was an artist called Mikko Raima, who was a friend of a friend, and he did the band photo was the first visual thing we did for the new album. It's in the inner cover of the I don't have the CD here anymore. I just put it away. But anyway, it's in the inner cover of the album. Timo Lepistö, a good friend of mine who has actually directed the Life's a Party music video, and he's done a ton of things for us throughout the years. He took the photos, and then he said that he's got this friend called Mikko Raima who could do the editing, like that it would look like a little bit surreal maybe and psychedelic, and you know, he would make it really nice, and it came out like super cool, the band photo. So it felt natural to ask him to create the cover art, the cover image as well. But it took some time. I tried to ask him like for 2 years, and then all of a sudden he replied that, hey, I noticed that you have apparently tried to reach me before. Yeah, I have tried, for 2 years. And then he was like all into it, that okay, of course I'll do it. And we didn't have any kind of a general idea. Maybe I told him that what if the cover art was some kind of surreal, like human figures or something like this. But basically the cover concept was all his. And then Nico, our guitarist, made all the rest of the covers, like the back cover and the booklets and all that. So, but Mikko Raima, I think he's on Instagram with his own name, Mikko Raima. Maybe at least you can find him with the search. But he's an actual real artist. He's like
Unlike us.
Yeah, yeah. He does tons of cool stuff, and please check out his Instagram profile. It's super cool, surreal, really cool looking art.
So while you're releasing this album pretty soon, do you guys already have plans for after the album release? Are you gonna have some shows that are confirmed already in Finland?
Yeah, we have a few. We are playing the Lost in Music Festival in Tampere in October, and a couple of other club shows as well. But the main focus is next year now with this schedule. And the main idea is to do another tour in Europe. Let's hope that everything goes well. And then, of course, one thing that we would really love to do is to play festivals in Finland and also in Europe next summer, because at the beginning, in the first couple of years of Egokills, we did a lot of festivals. Not a lot, but we did several festivals.
Yeah.
And then it sort of just, I don't know what happened. You know, it just hasn't been possible since we've tried, but it's been really hard. So now what I'm really looking forward is to play festivals next summer. You know, we've been of course the festival season is now over, but you know, I've been working and also in the audience in several festivals and watching other people play, and I felt like I need to get on stage with our band again.
Yeah, well, I'm sure with the release of this album, that's gonna definitely happen. Well, fingers crossed. Let's see next year at least. But yeah, I think that's it for my questions. So thank you so much for your time. Do you have any last thoughts you want to share with your fans?
Please check out the album.
Yeah.
And we also always appreciate if you purchase a physical copy. So it's a really cool artifact, the album, you know, on vinyl and CD. So
support the band and come see us alive.
Exactly.